This is my serious last video of this day. I have been on a roll. I've been doing this, and it angers me that this theory cannot get more hype. And in my first video, it was a little bit more unprofessional. It was a little bit more just off the cuff and stuff. I didn't think about it. I didn't type it out and stuff like that. So I am coming to this video hoping that I can plead a better case for myself. And while Demon Slayer has all this hype and stuff like that, that somebody can just notice it and they can just take a little bit of notice to it. It can be put up against reasonable scrutiny. Reasonable. Don't be lame. Don't just tell me like, just hear me out. I'm telling you as someone who has read the entirety of the manga. Spoilers ahead. But someone who read the entirety of the manga, I still think that this theory makes complete sense. Complete sense. And that all you have to do is not take something at complete face value like we don't do in so many different other works. Like, just don't take it at face value. Open your mind. Don't come here trying to be right. Just come here to listen and then criticize me fairly. Okay, so this theory, which the title, but honestly, get out of here. But if you don't want spoilers, but this theory is about Tanjiro's ancestry. And again, get out of here. And Tanjiro's ancestry as it relates to Yorichi. This is your last spoiler warning. Get out of here if you care about a theory. It's not proven, but there will be some facts and stuff like that that is proven in the manga. So, continuing forward, hopefully everybody is out of here who cares. I 100% think that Tanjiro is a descendant of Yorichi. Not directly. If you read the manga, we know that Yorichi and his unborn child and his wife were killed by a demon or by a bear. No, I think it was a demon. It was killed by a demon. So, that being said, there are some things we do know. We know that Yorichi had an identical twin who is identical on the cellular level to Yorichi, who is identical in every single way, DNA, blood, everything, who is identical to Yorichi. Physically identical. But there are some things that also came along with that. Yorichi was born with a certain level of gifts. And it comes down to, what is the mentality of Yorichi? He was born with a mark and stuff like that. Yeah, random circumstances happening, whatever. Yorichi was born able to see the see-through world. He was able to do all this other stuff. But he was the first person to come up with the breath style. I'm coming in with it. Hopefully my theory can stand up to realistic scrutiny. But Yorichi, I'm going to take it back. Yorichi had a twin brother. When Yorichi met back up with his twin brother years later, after he ran away at the house of, I think about 9 or 10, he ran away. He met up with his brother years later just by random circumstances. By this point, his brother had already had 2 children and a wife. 2 children and a wife that he abandoned to go learn sword styles so he could become a better swordsman by the time he ran into Yorichi, who was on the next level. He was the best swordsman that ever existed. He was out here. He was doing all that stuff. He had the breath technique. He had everything. So, what are some things that we know in the Demon Slayer universe? 1, breath styles are for the most part genetic. It's not something that anybody can do. And I would like to point out the case of Upper Moon 1 versus Yorichi. Yorichi can do sun breath. Upper Moon 1, who is identical to him in every way, could not. What is the difference between them? Their mentality, their mind, the way that they think. And I just want to point out how identical they are. what happened is they both unlocked Demon Slayer marks. They both had the same Demon Slayer mark. Even though Yorichi's brother, Upper Moon 1, could not use sun breathing, he had the same Demon Slayer mark that Yorichi had. So marks are not solely reliant on the breath style that you use, because moon breathing and sun breathing completely different. So it's not just that style that you use. Yeah. I don't know if you guys thought of that. I could be sniffing my own farts right here for a second, but I'm gonna keep going just in case somebody gives me very good things to cast doubt on my theory. So, identical. They have the identical mark. What they don't have is identical breath styles, which leads more towards a difference in mindset. Yorichi loved his family and stuff like that. He lost his family to tragedy. His brother, Upper Moon 1, abandoned his family because he just wanted to get stronger. So, these guys, they run into demon slayers and stuff like that. Yorichi spent his time trying to teach the demon slayers how to do sun breathing, but none of them could do what he could do. So he made these offshoots. And that's why we have all of the different breath styles. He made these offshoots that cater towards their bodies and stuff like that. I'm gonna just start right here. Breath styles appear to be genetic, more so like body types are genetic. If your parents are all tall and stuff, the odds of you coming out tall, it's just kind of in your genetics. It just keeps getting pushed up to the forefront of the surface. That's just something that's going to happen. So it seems like what happens is that if you are bred, that you're born into this family, you're more than likely going to be a breath style user of the person who came before you. Case in point, Tanjiro can do the Hinokami Kagura dance or sun breathing, whichever one you want to refer to it as, like his fathers before him and like what has been passed down for generations. So this is a generational thing that has been passed down over and over. Now those other demon slayers could not replicate. They could not do what Yorichi could do. So that leans more towards it's a physical thing. And the only person who was physically identical to him had this mental block. We can point that out. And could do the second strongest thing because he wasn't strong enough to beat his brother. You can call that a mental block, to where he could only be the second strongest swordsman compared to his brother because of jealousy, whatever. But we see it with the Flame Hashira, with Rengoku and stuff like that. We see in their family that the flame pillar has been passed down for generations right alongside with the entire story. Since Yorichi was up there. So 400 years of this family passing down their Flame Hashira traditions over and over and over and over again. Because what is happening? Their body is physically able to handle it. And that leads me to another great point. Sorry, I messed up my stuff. But that leads me to another great point. I don't want to be disrespectful. I just wanted to get that out. Hairstyles. Hairstyles have been shown, and we have flamboyant hairstyles, reference to the sound pillar. But we have very flamboyant hairstyles in the Demon Slayer universe. What do we see? We see that Flame Hashira Rengoku, or the Rengoku family, we see his little brother with the same hairstyle as him. We see his father with the same hairstyle as him. We see Tanjiro with the same hairstyle as his father who came before him. And we see Sumiyoshi, who was his ancestor who started it off, which is another confirmed member of the Kamado family. We see him with that same red and black hair. The only other two people we see with red and black hair is Upper Moon 1 and Yorichi. They're twin brothers, identical in every way. So, I don't really want to hang up on them. But this theory is that I'm saying that we look at some facts that just stand out in the storyline. We were all thinking Yorichi is Tanjiro's ancestor. Yorichi, and I still think that that is the case. Only if we look at it from a different light. Yorichi's twin brother had 2 kids he abandoned. Now, some years passed since Yorichi fought Muzan and failed to kill him, and we had where the demon slayers, they hated him and stuff. They say he should commit, negative things to himself because he failed to finish off Muzan, and he failed to finish off the female demon that came in clutch throughout the story. I forgot, but we see that some years have passed. He's not really with the Demon Slayers anymore like that. Who's to say that when he ran into Sumiyoshi, Tanjiro's confirmed ancestor, that a decade, 8 years or something didn't pass like that? We don't know when Upper Moon 1 abandoned his children. All we know is that he abandoned 2 children and that he has a confirmed living descendant over 400 years later, which is confirmed by himself to be the Mist Pillar. Confirmed. So, when we look back at that, when we look at things like the red hair, and we even look at things... Okay, so I want to just go back to the red hair for a second. We see that this familial trait has been passed down in Tanjiro's family. The only other people we see years ago with this same hair is Upper Moon 1, who has confirmed living descendants who he abandoned and went years without seeing. And then we see Yorichi, who never met his brother's children or anything like that. So, if these two were to meet by happen chance, this kid is not going to remember what their father or their father's identical brother looked like after years of being abandoned as a child. And Yorichi is not going to know what his nephew or his nephews or niece looks like years later because he never met them. So if they meet up and they just meet by happen chance and stuff like that, and Yorichi shows the dance to Sumiyoshi, it would make sense. It wouldn't make sense because out of all the people, out of all of the trained, talented swordsmen who were demon slayers before they even knew about the breath techniques, who were physically in their peak and stuff like that, who were able to pass on their breath techniques for generations, out of all of them, they could not do sun breathing. But this random person can replicate it, can do it after one look at it. One look at it. And they're able to do it. And their family is able to do it for over 400 years. I think that just kind of it just points to it. It just makes it so much sense. So the first point I talked on was the hair color, which we have seen has been passed down through generations and through families in Demon Slayer. Second point, the body, the breath styles have been passed down through generations and stuff. Third, Demon Slayer marks. We've only seen 3 people with the same Demon Slayer mark, but we can look at different breath styles and see that the breath style does not determine what the Demon Slayer mark looks like. And this is why I feel like I'm on a roll right now. So we see the water pillar. He gets his mark. Doesn't look like what the Mist Pillar gets. Doesn't look like what the Rock Pillar gets. Doesn't look like what the Wind Pillar gets. But what do we see? We see the Moon Breather, which is Yorichi's identical brother. They use different breath styles, and he could never attain sun breathing. Why does he have an identical mark? An identical Demon Slayer mark? And we've seen everybody else mark is very much characteristic on their breathing style if we were to take it at face value versus instead of taking it at what their body was naturally suited for. But if we look at every other character, we look at it like their breath style is what determined their mark, but not that their body type is what determined their mark. So Yorichi's twin brother, identical in every way, he used a moon breathing, but he got the same marks that that Yorichi got who used sun breathing. And Tanjiro got the same exact marks too. Now, if these two, if it was just a sun breathing thing, I don't think we would see this link in moon breathing. I think it's more so a body type, a family type, a genetic thing where that determines what your demon slayer mark is. And we only see it in what I would say is Tanjiro and Yorichi's family. And I'm just saying that it would make sense seeing that Yorichi has an identical clone of himself who has the same mark but never could do the breathing types that he can, who can see the invisible world like he can, who can do everything else but use the same breath. You know, and even mentality. If you say Tanjiro has the same mentality as Yorichi and not the same mentality as Upper Moon 1, why do these three have the same Demon Slayer mark? That just doesn't make sense to me. So, the Demon Slayer mark is one thing. The confirmed living descendants that Upper Moon 1 has is a thing. The fact that Yorichi can do sun breathing, and the person identical to him who could only do the most, who was identical to him but was not mentally, who had a mental block, was able to do everything. He could come 98% close of sun breathing but couldn't do sun breathing. He couldn't freaking do it. All of these trained swordsmen couldn't do it. But Tanjiro's family, random family with the same genetic types and stuff, that's like me just I'm sorry, but that's like me just meeting like a black person in the middle of an all-white county and not thinking that, like, okay, take it back. Maybe like take it back. I don't know. Screw it. I don't want to make that connection because humans are always traveling and stuff. But it just doesn't make sense. So matching Demon Slayer mark. His body is able to do the same breath style, even though all of these other trained swordsmen couldn't even replicate it. They had to do something that was less intensive. And his body is able to do it for generations. Freaking the confirmed living descendants, the hair color, which we have confirmed has been like a family trait in Demon Slayer. We confirmed hair color because we can look at the Flame Hashira who came before Rengoku, and we can look at Rengoku's little brother, and they all have the same hair color. I think that what happened is in the manga, when Sumiyoshi says his family friend taught him and stuff, and he's narrating it, he would have no reason of thinking that Yorichi was his uncle. Why would he? If and I'm a personal example. I have aunties and aunts that I met when I was like 9, 10, 11, and I'm 23. I met them 9, 10, 11, and maybe again when I was 16. And to this day, if they walk past me on the street, I could not recognize them because it's been like 6, 7, 10 years. I could not recognize them. I just think that like so many things make sense with this theory. And the one thing that goes against it is someone saying, oh, but Sumiyoshi said, it was just a family friend who randomly saved him, and that's why he learned it. Oh, okay, yeah. And even if Yorichi did know that was his nephew, why would he say that if he doesn't plan on sticking around? He could have just said, hey, I just like being around you because of the family I lost, the emotional damage I suffered and stuff like that. But I have to keep moving because I failed and I have to complete a goal. There's a danger to be around me. I want to protect you. You're the only bit of family I have. I can't even find my twin brother. But I'm not going to tell you who I am. I saved your life. That's great. Here's my earrings. As the one bit of family that I know I have in this world, here's my earrings. Here's the one possession I have that I care that I can give you other than the clothes off of my back. It just makes so much sense to me. And I just wish like somebody would, I just wish it could be like in the limelight. Like I want it to be scrutinized. But I just want like more people to see it, think about it. It could be head canon. It could be not canon. It's gonna be head canon anyways, unless the author slash artist comes out and says directly, yes, you put the dots together, you got it. Yes, you put it together, which I highly doubt happening. But I just wish people would give it a chance. I wish it could be put out there in the light. To recap, the 4 reasons I say that is the case is: one, Demon Slayer marks appear to be hereditary because and not based on your breath. They seem to be hereditary. 2, breath styles seem to be hereditary and not based on your what's name, with the exception of Upper Moon 1, who we know had a mental block. But as things progressed in the story, what did we see? They started doing more and more things. Invisible World, Demon Slayer mark, doing all that stuff. But they did not get to the level of their brother. We can just call that a mental block. Just like how we can say it was a mental block that Tanjiro didn't know that he learned the breath style. And he ended up using it in a fight for his life. So, Demon Slayer marks appear to be hereditary. Hair color appears to be hereditary. Breath style appears to be hereditary. And these things are just lining up. You got to have the body for it. And Upper Moon 1 has a confirmed descendant. And over 400 years, family trees get pretty messy. If you're going to say, why didn't the Mist Pillar have red and black hair? Look at Tanjiro's siblings, his direct siblings. None of them had the red and black hair that he had. They all had black hair and stuff. And if they went on to have kids, more than likely, they would just have black hair. Unless it was Tanjiro who was having kids. And we even see it at the end of Demon Slayer. Tanjiro's great-grandson or great-great-grandson has the same red and black hair. It just all screams it to me. It just screams it. And somebody with a better production budget, somebody with a bigger audience, somebody with that, I just hope you can see it and you can think like, hey, that does sound good. And you can present it to the people. The only thing I would say is, please don't fuck me over in that case and just make it, somebody see this video and think I'm just a liar. But, like I stole your idea. But, like, it just makes so much good sense. I've been trying to say it to my friends online, on Reddit, and stories and stuff like that. I made a video on this, and it only got 17 views. Just please just consider it. And if you disagree, it's a show, it's a manga, it's a whatever. Like, honestly, it ain't like I'm telling you your dad is not your dad. Like, just be calm about it and point out some of the flaws or something. But yeah, that's why I think it's a good theory. That's why I think it is. And thank you if you made it to this point. I make random things on this video channel. I make whatever I want to make. But thank you for coming this far. I'm ending the video. Oh shit, I've been recording on this shitty camera this entire time. I'm sorry for the low budget quality. I thought I was recording on like my very high definition camera. I'm recording on my shitty camera.